All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Ebony, a.k.a. Fit Mom Diva of Simplicity Health Style, and today we have Lindsay with us. How are you, Lindsay?
I'm good. How are you?
I am awesome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with us. You guys, we actually met on social media, and I discovered that she lives not too far away from me. The power of social media. She's going to explain a little bit about her intention behind her social media presence. And if you guys stick around to the end, you'll have an opportunity to get a complimentary gift. So listen out for what Lindsay wants to share with us today. Lindsay, start us off by telling us one motivational quote that really motivates you and encourages you and inspires you.
Okay, so my go-to quote when I'm having a hard time, can't really see where my life is going, is actually from Psalms. It's "I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made." And this quote is so important to me because it reminds me that I'm a part of something bigger than myself and that I am absolutely beautiful in my own skin and I can achieve anything that I put my mind to.
That is beautiful. And if we don't tell ourselves that we're beautiful and wonderfully made, not too many other people are necessarily thinking about us to tell us that, right? So
Yeah,
it's important for us to look in the mirror and tell ourselves how awesome, amazing, and fabulous we are. I think that too oftentimes we, especially on social media, we can fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to other people. And it's funny because the people that we're comparing ourselves to are often comparing themselves to other people too. So being
right.
step back and really appreciate the beauty of who you are and know that we are all unique and beautiful in our own way. That's extremely key for our self-confidence. Tell us about a time when you didn't necessarily see the light at the end of the tunnel, because as much as you could tell yourself you're beautiful and you're amazing, you're fabulous, there are some times in your life where you doubt yourself and you're not necessarily understanding the process that you're going through. So you look at yourself as, I don't know, am I really going to be able to achieve this dream that I set forth for myself? So tell us about a time when you may have even had to overcome some external circumstances or obstacles that you did not foresee, but you were able to press through and make it to the end to achieve that goal or that dream.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a relatively new blogger. I started my Instagram account in September, actually during Hurricane Irma, because I was stuck inside. I didn't have anything to do. Um, but when I started, I had no idea what I was doing because I didn't have social media until less than a year ago. So I didn't know how to use Instagram. I didn't know to use hashtags, locations, whatever. So I was basically just posting a picture and a caption. So, and I wasn't really following other bloggers at that point. So I was like, why am I not growing? What am I doing wrong and what can I do better?
Mm-hmm.
And I my biggest external struggle, I guess, would be my generalized anxiety, which makes it really hard to be a social media influencer because it's just like you said, we compare ourselves to other people on social media, especially as an influencer or a blogger or a businesswoman, because there are so many people who've been doing it for longer and they're so successful.
Right.
So I think that in a lot of cases, social media can be the enemy of happiness. But it was really important for me to learn how to take a step back
Mm-hmm.
and say, I just started this. It's not about the followers. It's not about my stats or my numbers. It's about changing one person's life, inspiring one person. I was constantly checking my follower count, and I had it memorized so I would see if it went down, which I know anyone who's trying to grow their account has been through this phase.
Right.
And I was just I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I was staying awake at night. I didn't know how to get over that hump of I was stuck around 500 followers and I didn't know how to get out of that. So I was talking to my roommate about it actually, and she just kind of looked at me and she said, Lindsay, the only way to survive on social media is to be content.
Yeah.
And that really hit me because I really wasn't being content at all. I wasn't content with the feedback I was getting or anything like that because I was like, well, I don't have enough followers. But as soon as I let that go, I started to relax, started to be myself, and I stopped copying other successful bloggers. I was like modeling every post around what the bloggers I followed did.
Right.
And that can be good to grow your following, but it's also inauthentic.
Right.
So as soon as I focused on creating beautiful content that was purely me and it was who I was as a person instead of like aesthetic or something like that, instead of striving to be what I saw in others, striving to be myself, that's when I started growing.
Yeah. Yes. And I teach a full course on this, on how to show up in the world as your true, authentic self, because you're exactly right. You can emulate somebody else all day long, but people are going to be able to see through it. And you're not going to gain the kind of traction that you really want to gain because they can see that you are not being authentic. You're not being your true self. And it doesn't matter almost what you say out of your mouth. Sometimes if people can sense the honesty and the realness behind it, they appreciate that so much more than you trying to act like you're somebody else. So I think that that's something that definitely needs to be conveyed to brand new bloggers or brand new social media influencers and people in general. Just be yourself because people love it. There's also a difference in being yourself and not working on improving your areas of opportunity also. So having said that, you can't say, well, being myself is someone that steals from people. Being myself is someone that lies and cheats. You still want to work on yourself. Self-improvement is key to being your best self in this world also, so that you can attract that abundance that you're looking for. But showing up as the person that you are is so key. And I think that when you focus solely on that and focus on your own lane of what lights you up, you're going to gain that traction without you even feeling like you're putting forth a lot of effort to do so, because people are just going to naturally be attracted to you. You're feeling like, I'm just playing around. I was looking at a video, as a matter of fact, on social media earlier today, where me and my daughter, we were just playing around in the store, playing with some hats, modeling some hats. And it was just really just a spur of the moment video of us just playing around, having fun. And I was looking at the views on that video, and it said that it got like 2,700 some odd views. And I was just playing around in a store, okay? So I'm thinking about those times when we put forth so much effort into the perfect post, the perfect blog, the perfect vlog, whatever it is. And we're like, man, I put so much effort into this, it should have gained more traction. And really what people are looking for is just you being yourself, not it being perfect. You just throwing yourself out there into the world so that people can resonate with who you are. And that's it. That is it. They're not looking for, did she spell that word correctly in the blog? Is every single sentence grammatically correct and with perfect sentence structure? People as a whole, when they're going on social media, they're looking to be entertained. They're not looking to be a teacher of your content, a teacher of your content in the way of, I'm going to give you a grade on how well put together this blog article was.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree with you and respect that. Just showing up as your true authentic self is going to draw in those people that are supposed to be drawn into you. You're not for everybody, and that's okay,
Yeah.
What would you say to people that are starting out and they don't necessarily have the level of support and encouragement that they need from family and friends? Because you just talked about how you had a friend that said, well, if you're going to master this social media game, you want to always be content with where you are, still striving for the best you can be, but be content where you're not comparing yourself to other people. And not everybody understands what is involved in certain industries to be able to provide the best support. Not that they don't want to support, but they don't understand how to provide the best support because it's not their lane. They've never walked in it. For me, many of the people I know have never done social media entrepreneurship. They don't know how to really support me because they don't understand it. They're waiting for me to tell them how it's done, you know? So what would you say to those people that are looking for a circle of support and they're really not where they want to be, but they know that they have a vision and a goal in mind?
Yeah, that's definitely something I've experienced too when I started, because family and friends are amazing about supporting you, but as far as supporting your blog or your business, it's exactly like you said, people don't really understand exactly what you're doing. And most of my family and friends would never be interested in a fashion blogger if it weren't me. So
Right.
you have to find people in the same wheelhouse. And for me, what really kicked that off for me was I went to a creative event in my community. Um, if you live in the Tampa area, there's a girl I follow, Kaylee and Nicole. She's
Okay.
just a few years older than me, but she is just this amazing entrepreneur whose job is to organize get-togethers for people in the community who are creatives and graphic designers and bloggers and photographers. So that's how I started out. There are more and more of these events
Mm-hmm.
that are getting started around the country. Um, but if you don't hear about any of those, obviously social media is the fastest way to do it. There's usually like an Instagrammers of whatever city page that you can follow. So like I follow IGers Lakeland,
Uh-huh.
and that's like the community of bloggers in my area. And I actually just met someone through that, and we met for coffee, and we like bonded immediately and talked about blogging and then life and then anxiety, and it was like a really productive conversation. And we have so much in common. So that's definitely a good way to do that. It's hard to find people through social media if you just like type bloggers into the search bar.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you can search your city and then find other people in the area who know what you're doing. And like, we want to support each other. If you're looking for someone to support you, the people you find are going to want that support too. Even
Right.
if they are more successful than you, like it's hard to understand being a blogger or a social media influencer or a social media entrepreneur if you're not actively doing it.
Right.
So because most of us are on social media and that's how we're growing our brand, that's the best way to find people who are like you.
Right. Yes. And you're doing awesome, by the way, for someone that says you have anxiety. Interviewing with you today. I appreciate it. For one, I want to stop you and say that. You're very right in understanding that there are communities out there that are specialized in your specific area. I have found meetup groups in the area as well. And these are communities of ladies that meet on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis, some of them a little bit more infrequently. I created my own meetup group so that I would be able to connect with people that had an interest in exactly what I'm doing. And if you attend these events, most likely you are going to form some kind of bond with the person because you already know that you have a natural interest in that particular topic. So I don't care if that's having a game night or that's talking about painting or traveling or music or whatever it is, you already have a natural interest in that area.
Right.
I often find that people think that social media is the only way to meet people. because we're so engrossed in social media these days. However, there's a large community of people, believe it or not, that are not on social media, that
Right.
are out there at those vending events, like what you mentioned, and various other community events. It's so interesting to me when I do meet these people that say, I'll ask them, I'm like, so are you on social media so that we can keep in contact with each other? And they're like, no, not really. And they're like millennial age range. It's
Yeah,
always funny to me when I come across these people, but there are so many of them. I meet them.
there really are.
There's so many of them that really they don't care about social media. Does that mean that they're not talented and that they're not able to support you in some way? No, they could definitely support you in some way. These people also attend churches, for example, or they go to schools, or they go to their own networking events. And as a matter of fact, they're probably more likely to know of more of the local events than the social media people that you meet, because we're thinking about meeting people that are way across the country or way across the world, whereas these people are probably more in touch with those people right around you. I know
Right.
at one time recently, I was saying to myself, I need to find a local Tampa photographer. And I started thinking, how can I find a local Tampa photographer? And so the first thing I thought of was going online, social media, and typing in the hashtag Tampa photographer. But there are many Tampa photographers, I'm pretty sure, in my local community that are not necessarily on Instagram, you know? So getting out to just network and speak to people right in your immediate circle, you can still find a lot of talent. What is your intention with your social media presence? What made you decide that I want to overcome this anxiety and get out there and make an impact? Because that's really what it is about. It's not about the vanity numbers. What was your initial intention behind wanting to make an impact for even just that one individual?
So my goal with my social media account is really to create a safe space. So even though I am technically a fashion blogger, like I'll talk about anxiety and I have a blog post on fasting diets. And what I'm really trying to do is inspire confidence in people, encourage them to be individualistic and be themselves, which is why, like, I realized I have to stop trying to be like other people because I'm trying to encourage people to be themselves. And to do that, I have to be completely me, the weirdness and everything. So, and I talk about Christianity a lot because that's something that's super important to me, but that's not all of my followers are Christians.
Right.
But that's okay because when I talk about it, it's part of my identity. So
Right.
people are seeing me be completely and authentically myself. I don't want to be afraid to share anything about myself with my
Mm-hmm.
followers because I want to be that put together blogger, but I also want to be approachable and I don't want people comparing themselves to me because it's so important on social media to strive to have a positive influence
Right.
because social media is by its character harmful. It's which is strange to hear a social media influencer say, um, but it forces you to compare yourself to other people, and there's a lot of on Twitter there's a lot of like negative energy being thrown around constantly. Um, so it's just really important to use that influence that you have for good. So that's
Right.
really all I'm trying to do.
Yes, and you're exactly right. Using that influence for good, because we often see a lot of negative images, and sometimes we'll say, people are always throwing around these negative images and talking bad about the president and talking bad about this person and that person and bullying and all of that. Well, instead of complaining about that, what are you doing to add some positivity to the space? If you're not
Right.
doing anything to add positivity to the space, then why are you just sitting there complaining? Because your complaint is doing nothing but adding more negativity. When you really stop and think about it. So what are you doing to add your own positive spin on what you see going on? And I think that's so key. to understand that we as individuals have the opportunity to create what we want in this world. And if you want to see positivity, well, then be positivity yourself. You know? So I think taking a step back sometimes and looking at it through the lens of, well, how can I add value to this world? What are your next steps? I know that you have some good stuff coming up. And for those of you that are listening that resonate with the fashion message and everything that Lindsay has spoken about, what are your next steps so that people can choose to collaborate with you?
So when I got home from the school year, I started to really focus on going from a blogger to an influencer.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought my own domain, which is huge because I can't advertise another brand on a WordPress site. But now that it's trustmeitsfashion.com, then I can advertise for brands and I can work with people. And what I'm trying to do right now is local partnerships because I am a micro influencer. So like say Loft. Loft wouldn't work with me because I have fewer than 1,000 followers, but I am partnering with a local roaster in Lakeland, and it's perfect because most of my following is local.
Right.
And so all of those people that are following me have been like, oh, where's Ethos? Where can I try their coffee? And they're going to go to the farmer's market and pick that up. So that's really the stage I'm in right now, which is perfect because I love small business. Like that, other than fashion and blogging, that's my passion. So it's been really great to like talk to local brands about partnering with them. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
And what type of local brands do you like the most so that people that are listening, they get an idea of the type of brands that you're looking for?
So as far as the brands I'm working with, I really believe in only working for brands that I believe in. I'm not going to be a sellout.
Right.
I'd say I'm not just going to work with anyone. So as far as fashion, I'm looking for brands that are affordable, individualistic, and modest, because those are the 3 things that I talk about in my blog.
Right.
And then, like, I'm working with a coffee roaster right now, so it's not like I'm just restricted to fashion. But any, like, small business that is in the area and trying to promote positivity.
Right.
That's really the kind of brand I want to work with because that's the kind of brand I believe in.
Right. And that's what you're about. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I always commend people that want to develop partnerships too, because when you're talking about partnerships, it eases that sense of competition. Like everything is about me, and you're over there, I'm over here. I love, love, love teamwork and collaboration. And for any of you that are listening that are not local, that may want to partner with Lindsay in some kind of way, I'm sure she's open, right, to suggestions from other people. So don't feel like you have to be local to collaborate with her. Throw her a message and see how the 2 of you can combine your minds. Lindsay, I'm going to provide all of your contact information in the description box. For those of you that are listening, all of her info will be there, but can you just real quickly state your Instagram handle so that if people want to search you real quickly, they can find you?
Yeah, of course. It's at Trust Me It's Fashion, just all of those words smushed together, no underscores or anything.
Trust Me It's Fashion. Easy.
Yes.
Easy to remember. And all of my contact info will also be in the description box. For those of you that do have difficulty finding support system in your online community, and you're really looking for a space that seems intimate, I also invite you into my Nutrition for Busy Women Facebook group. Is nutrition the number 4, busy women. And we're not just talking about nutrition from a food consumption standpoint. We're talking about nutrition for the mind, body, and soul. So if you're looking for that space where you can receive a level of support that feels more intimate, I know that sometimes some of the larger Facebook groups and other social media groups, you may get lost in it, like there's no sense of community. I try to keep my community just that way, like it's a family unit. So I invite you to join us and to not just sit around and look at what everybody else is doing, but to also contribute. Because the beauty of being yourself is contributing so that we can also see your light shine in this world. And for those of you that want to share your success story or challenges that you're facing so that other people don't feel alone, feel free to contact me, and I'd love to have you participate in one of these interviews as well. And don't forget to share this out. Lindsay's an awesome person that took some time out of her day to connect with you. So I want her message to be out there into the world. So feel free to share this with your friends and family and foes so that they can receive some inspiration today. Lindsay, do you have any last words of encouragement that you want to give to the listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. My number one advice is don't give up. Whatever you're doing, whatever brand you're building for yourself or for your company, don't give up, because what's going to make you successful is perseverance. Putting yourself out there, and don't treat it like a hobby, treat it like a passion.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. And for those of you that are saying to yourself, well, I don't know what my passion is, the complimentary gift that I promised you at the beginning of this interview, one of the gifts that I provide you when you join the Nutrition for Busy Women group is specifically targeting how to understand what your passion is and the themes that you naturally gravitate to so that you can live your life purpose and provide a meaningful and fulfilling life experience for yourself. So if you'd like that free assessment tool, join us and we can work in that direction too, because I know that for some people listening, they beat themselves up when they're not doing what they are naturally fulfilled about doing, and that's okay. Where you are right now is exactly where you need to be. You guys have an awesome rest of the day wherever you are in the world, and I look forward to communicating with you in our next episode. I'll talk to you soon.